Greetings everyone. Today we have a viewer submitted build. This was submitted by Shining Cat. A very natural consequence of viewer submitted builds is that I have no idea how to play them. I haven't played Tenebrous in like... I played Tenebrous like one time when I was entering R3. And then of course I played it for Rush, like the mandatory Rush check. But apart from that, Tenebrous is not something I've really ever got the experience with. And I am somewhat skeptical over whether it can truly perform. Of course, I'm not sure how much of that is the fact that this is would be attributed to a legitimate inadequacy in the build, and how much would be the fact that this is the first time I'm ever playing the build. But even with Hex-crafted Siphon, it deals it's like 330 damage hexes, and those elites had 510 health, and I don't know about this one, Chief. Okay, at least the silence means it doesn't summon its little minions. I also may or may not just be guessing at what keybind I'm supposed to use. I can hear the pernicious mobs underneath me, and it's kind of terrifying. So, I haven't touched the actual setup of the build at all. Like, I didn't customize it. I didn't say, oh, I should maybe like consider doing something else. I'm just completely trusting Shining on what the skills and the enhancements and the items should be, and might not work out so well. Like, if you had asked me to look at the build, I would immediately say that it probably has major damage issues, because it has like, it's like 157% magic damage, and then no, and whatchamacallit, magic damage, Trivium 3. Interestingly, does not have Phlegmatic Resolve. I'm very puzzled by the choice not to use Phlegmatic Resolve. And as you can see, even with me casting every single spell I had on that thing, it still took yeah, it didn't even kill the thing in my hex. That was the full spell dump. Like, not holding anything back with that one. Maybe it's a matter of me needing to hit the Trivium, but even so, it's kind of rough. Phlegmatic doesn't really help the damage issue, but I mean, if I had to guess, I would have used Phlegmatic so that I could skip out on a damage piece. So that I could skip out on the EHP piece in favor of more damage. That's how I imagine you'd be playing it. 9 health. I can probably kill it. I mean, all the charm power, like, there's Hexcrafted Siphon in the build, but I think a lot of the charm power actually went into just buffing Amp Hex damage, because I have 4 charm power of lessers that goes into that. Withering, Choleric, Sanguine Hex. So I don't really know how to do this. I heard rumors that you would be able to do 500 damage with Hex, but maybe not on this kind of build. Maybe the key is that you have to melee? Okay, that's my bad. It just the mob went behind me and so I didn't hit my Hex. What do I do until I can Hex the thing to death? I just have to sit around. I mean, it's possible that the intended playstyle is to run around and wait for mobs to spawn and then hex all of them at once, just like what I've done here, but I mean, I could try that. I could just run around and spawn the mobs and then do this. Hex. And now I run away and I drink dew until I can do it again. Claws, Choleric Lament, Hex, Gaze. Don't let that kill me. Fade, Choleric, Hex. I wish I had Vexes so I could get rid of the order that shows up after I kill everything, but no, the build has Withering Gaze too instead. I don't even know if it does anything. The pernicious mobs are after me, I gotta run. In terms of the build itself, like the items, I think the synergies are pretty good, I'd say. We're using the Watcher's Warning Blighted Bugle combo, which is... Okay, I screwed up which abilities to use and now I have to suffer. You're dead. He uses the Watcher's Warning Blighted Bugle combination, so the massive magic protection of Bugle gets used, which is pretty good and I think enough to make it at least competitive. Oh, dead. Which is pretty good. I think it's at least enough to make it competitive with the more traditional Wolf's Blood Tome. I mean, Wolf's Blood Tome is just kind of monstrous in its slot because how can you turn down 45% magic damage? Like, that's gallery item levels of magic damage, and even then it has like 6.5 agility, which is, in my mind, it's a reasonable amount of agility to have. Of course, the damage with this combination is poorer, but the EHP is much better. So that's worth considering at least. Why there's so many mobs coming from everywhere? You know what else sucks? There's no... The charms are Ghostly Eminence. So I don't even get the healing from... I don't even get the healing from Shades. Got an idea. Maybe I could do this. Claws. That was not claws. I have hexed early. This was a mistake. It's okay. Mountain's Dew lets me undo some mistakes at least. I can see how Tenebrous is supposed to be played, but I have to say, I don't think it was meant to be played this way. Okay, where am I going? I'm going into like spectator mode just from the Colossus. I'm gonna hold the shield up for a bit. Hex. Okay. And Shade and Choleric and Hex. I kinda hate Shade Hounds, but at least they're on... At least it's on Warlock that I'm recording this, and I don't have to fight trying to melee them. AoE classes have it good. Oh. Oh, I don't know what I'm supposed to do now. I'm just gonna sit here and wait for things to come off cooldown, I guess. Oh, I was... Huh. That was somewhat disappointing. I thought the debuffs that Gaze applied were going to be good enough for one hex to take it out, but I guess not. That it only brings the hex to about 70-ish damage. I'm not actually certain on how Trivium interacts with Amplifying Hex. In theory, maybe it might not at all, because Hex would depend on the mob itself, right? Because it would read how many debuffs the mob itself has and not Hex, and not necessarily how many. So it might not spread that damage. Hex, please kill. I can definitely see the build working if it had like the coverage, if it had the if it had the means to clean up stray mobs, if it had the means to do something when the abilities were on downtime. I could see it being pretty good, and this gameplay loop of being able to kill everything is certainly pretty satisfying, but this part of the gameplay loop where you just sit around and wait and hope you don't die is a little bit more awkward, let's say. Oh hey, a Twisted Pigment. You know what, maybe I was too harsh to this POI. we're just gonna have to wait for this thing to move us a little bit until we can get some freedom. And then we can book it. I could try them out of this water, but I think, well, as long as my momentum doesn't get screwed over, we could just IR out and be fine. And I think we're just gonna leave that behind. It's not worth it. I think Choleric Hex is enough, yeah, because it applies sufficient Inferno. And Inferno counts in some way, I don't actually know how it counts. Okay, Hex and kill. Okay. I don't really know what happened. I saw my health bar go down and I panicked because I hadn't managed to cast all the spells I needed to yet. I don't really understand where these trash mobs keep coming from. Like, I keep thinking, oh, I've killed them all, or I've hit them all with Hex, and then more show up out of the woodwork, and like, jeez, not this again. Okay, we're gonna wait for him to bring up his minions, and then we're gonna Sanguine, and then we're gonna Harvest and Hex. And even then, we did not get that much health back. Ouch. Okay, maybe that's because I didn't kill the minions in the first place. And I've also successfully missed my X. I thought I could get something cool off by hitting it while mid-jump. No, I guess not. Thankfully, Grasping Claws deal some damage. I don't know how those things got where they are though. They seem to have flown. Now, I don't think the boss is going to be a particularly pleasant experience. It should have 20-some hundred health, 3200 health. This is about 10 cycles of my spells. So our boss fight experience is largely going to be running around and then waiting for our spells to come off cooldown. Which I have to say I'm not that big a fan of. I'm a bit nervous about getting into range for melee. I don't believe that this has the healing to sustain that kind of lifestyle. 183 health, 183 damage as that. Okay, let's try and get these mobs all killed this time. I think that Grasping Claws managed to do absolutely nothing, not sure how. And then I knocked them too far back with Harvest. Okay, I see how it is. One of the other experiences I've had with Warlock involved Bloodletter's Blade, and I thought that the 500% knockback would be like hilarious. In reality, it's not that funny. It doesn't do much. It's kind of a disappointment. Gotta say. Given the choice, I will not be playing this build again. I'm unclear as to whether this is an issue with the build or whether this is an issue with Warlock in general, but either way, I did not find my time here particularly enjoyable, and this will probably not happen again. Especially not in the boss. The most probable explanation for this is that it's an infusion difference, and that Shining Cat plays on Perspicacity 30. This set is completely uninfused. I didn't have a single item that I didn't have to like pull out of deep storage. I mean, the last time I used Primordial Treads was literally when I entered R3. Ironically also on Tenebrist. So I guess it's returning to its roots a little bit. Does this guy stop? Oh, okay, never mind. Here's the mobs. And I get the Sanguine off, and that's not a kill. Okay, it should be fine. We just need to do one more cycle. Just one more cycle. I mean, what could go wrong? 3 health, are you kidding me? So, that's kind of the viewer submitted build experience, I guess. Maybe should be a little bit more selective as to what I play, but I think for now I don't have much of a choice.